Hey, it's Stone Deaf Monk. Apologize ahead of time here for these next series of reviews coming up. It sounds like it's going to be a shill fest, but quite honestly, I've just been getting some bangers in product and gear wise that has been a pleasure listening to, and very enthusiastic about bringing you the review. So today is another one. This is the Nipo A100. This is a magnetic DAC amp dongle that really has got me excited to talk about. And let's jump into this. Why this actually exists in its current form is thank you, I do believe, to Leonardo from MusicTek, who, like me, sometimes gives feedback to manufacturers, and in this case, sometimes they listen. In this case, they did. After MusicTek listened to the N2 DAP, they were kind of taken with it. And when this project of the A100 dongle came up, they gave their feedback to it, and it came into fruition. And what a couple things changed on it that Nipo had to kind of move around their product supply chains, but they managed to put in a different set of capacitor banks and a different amplifier chip, the SGM8262. And you've heard me talk about that before when I did the review for the MUB100 from QUIRKS, and I was comparing that to the Shandling UP6 that also uses that SGM8262, and why that lower priced dongle beat out the more expensive one is because I think in part using that fantastic amplifier section. Now, let's talk about the A100 here, and I'm going to break this thing down into a couple different ways. One, product, so you can timestamp it. Two, I'm going to talk about its sound, obviously, which is the most important and why I'm thrilled about this piece. And three, I guess some quirks about it that I found was funky, and hopefully some feedback, more feedback from me to Nipo to make the next version even better. So let's go into this. So this is using, in the DAC chip side, there is a ton of stuff inside of this that makes it very worthy of the $399 ask. When you dive into this thing and you know a little bit about electronics, it's not just the DAC chip that's used, it's the sum of the whole, the rest of the components that are used in here, and they did not cheap out anywhere. I'm not going to make this one a super long one and go into every single, because I would be a long one, but into more of the, and I'll post up some pictures on the side here so you can read along and just understand how intense they put the inside of this little dongle. So it's small, big power, really is. When it comes to it, but the core DAC chip is using the ES9039 Q2M. That is a fantastic sounding DAC chip. You combine that, of course, with all the other stuff, and here Nipo talks about their 9 different independent power supplies, their noise isolation through USB to stop interference, electromagnetic interference, the shielding of the power supplies. Everything that went into this was big engineering. And including some of the other things that make it kind of unique. So one is that magnetic kind of lock, boom, onto there. So if you have a MagSafe device like my Samsung S24 Ultra, for you of those who own Samsung that does the, or any kind of phone that does the MagSafe charging, turn that off if you are going to buy this because it gets this thing quite hot, because it actually doesn't charge that way. But I found that out the hard way. With that, it's a simple device. It really is. I mean, there's not a lot to it. It comes in 3 different colors, orange, blue, and black. And they're both pretty. I do suggest you buy the case, as I did, and hopefully it shows up today before I ended up editing this video, and I can show you some of those pictures. It looks pretty. On the bottom, all there is the 4.4, the USB-C, and the lit USB-C. And I'll talk about that in the QUIRKS. And on the side, you just have your power button, your plus and minus volume control, and your gain switch that also does the filters. Now, there's no screen. I should talk about the finish too. It's like this goldy, I don't know, it's hard to describe it. They do have a word for it. I'll punch it up here. But it's quite durable. And I'm putting a case on it just to protect it, because I'm going to be seeing this on a lot of videos of mine, so future ones, because it sounds that good. Enough of the features. Let's get into sound. That's the important stuff for me, and why I was just kind of floored. So when I was doing comparisons against even the more expensive QUIRKS MUB1 at $499, this thing is $100 less. A couple things really stood out for me that in the sound wise. One, that I love the actual bass of this dongle, this source. It is very tight. It is very textured, and there's no shortage of it. So I think it actually brings out the best in the lower end without exaggeration. It just fills it out, but pumps it out with power. And that is part of what makes the amplifier section and all the other good stuff in here, why it sounds so good, is it has some meat inside of this device that seems to be able to control the IMs and headphones, sound very powerful with its quite significant output of 525 milliwatts of power. Here's a shot of me driving some Velcan Vanguard 300 ohm headphones, and with ease. Very blown away, but the control that it has over, it never ran out of juice, and that was awesome. And you can tell when gear, especially amplifier sections, run out of power, because it sounds muddy and out of control, and the bass sounds sloppy and loose. This was exactly the opposite of that. Tight, fast, and punchy, and I absolutely love that. So the A100 was a champion for me, definitely for the bottom end. And the rest of the tuning, as I went through different gear, I tried the Penon 10th anniversary. I've tried my Hi-Fiman 400i headphones, Alpha Omega Omega. I've tried Unique Melody Stardust, the Dita Audio Mecha. So I went through a gamut of different gear to make sure that I wrapped my head around the sonic signature of this source. And now I know there's other people out there that say the sources don't have its own sonic signature. It is what you pair it with. Well, I don't think that's true at all. Because if you go through and you listen to A-B comparison with the same song, with the same headphones or IMs, and you're listening to this and you're listening to this, you can get its signature. And is the mids forward? Is it an L shape? Is it, you know what I mean? Is it boosted up anywhere? And I can honestly tell you that the A100 is very clean and linear, but extremely musical. And that's the difference. Like my the Can N3 Ultra, but more importantly, the Astle and Kern Con Max. You listen to that DAP and that source. That thing is brutally honest, and only certain stuff sounds good on it. Where the A100 wasn't colored or any way, it is still very transparent, but done in a very musical way. It didn't miss out anywhere. So that's why I'm fawning over it. Absolutely. So the mid-range, again, super natural, clean, unboosted anywhere across the 20 to 20. And in the high end also not boosted anywhere. It has a very nice top end where it's clean and sparkly and extended. It was nice. It didn't smooth over the notes. And it was a pleasure to listen to. And that's why I kind of like it. I mean, it's neutral, clean, musical. Best way to describe the whole A100 in a nutshell. So, highly recommended for sound quality. The driving power, again, 525 milliwatts. It's not just about the power output, but also the control, and again the power supply. All that has to come down in its complete form factor to give you its sonic signature and its driving power, which it seems to be able to have more than what this little thing can look like putting out. So that's for sure. Some quirks. Let's talk about two things. So, if you're using it for a magnetic DAC, goes on like that. So normally, if you were sitting this on your desktop, you would typically it sits like that, and you have the controls over on the one side of it, right? On the right side. Now you attach this thing to a device, and it's now on the left side, right? So where your fingers would be. So if we look at, I'm just putting it here on the N3 Ultra just so as a visual for you. So here's the controls of the N3 Ultra, which you would normally be if it was like that, right? Which would make sense. You would have both your controls together, but that's not the way Nipo put it. They put it like that. So your controls for your DAP would be on one side, and your controls for the Nipo A100 on the other side. So here's some feedback for you, Nipo. Flip them around. Or put the controls on both sides or on the top face. That would work even better, I think, as well. That would be cool. And then you'd kind of have some controls like the XM5 has on the front face. I actually really like that form factor. So that would be good on version 2. That's one. The second thing is power-wise, right? So, I mean, it's not really a big deal once you figure it out. But it does take a little bit of finagling. So power, you just, obviously turn it on, and the green light stays on at the bottom of the USB. When you turn it to high gain, press and hold that button, and that light stays on. Makes all sense perfectly, right? How do you charge this thing? Well, one of the things about the A100 is you can't charge this thing while it's sending signal input. So from your source or your transport, you can't actually use the power of that to charge the battery inside of this. So you actually have to charge the battery separately and solely rely on the 3900 huge, massive battery inside of this thing, which lasts 13 hours. So this is not a big deal, but I'm telling you this because it's a little bit weird and quirky. It can't charge with the MagSafe. It's one. That would be nice in a future version. And two, it can't charge while you've got it plugged into your transport. So in order to charge this thing, I'll show you turning it off. I'm getting pretty good at it now. So that's off. You take your USB-C, you plug it in, and you power it up. And within 2 seconds, you gotta, let's see, it's still not at, this is what I'm talking about. See, it's still on mode, not charge mode. In order to get it to charge mode, you have to plug in your USB-C, turn it on, and press this twice. Still didn't do it. Let's turn it off. Turn it on. There you go. And you see it went red and then green. That's how you turn it on. And you leave it charged for about 3 hours in order to fully charge the battery. The light, it doesn't flash to tell you that it's charging, nor does it tell you when it's charged. So it doesn't turn off. I have this basis USB cord that I use because once it's finished charging, the cord turns off its power with the smart chip too, so I don't overcharge my gear. That's brilliant, but there's some, again, quirkiness to the A100. So some feedback there. Make it flash green when it's charging. Yeah, I mean, that's, and then turn off when it's fully charged. I think that would be a smart thing to do. Now, and you know that it's in charge mode again when you see that you unplug the USB and the power turns off, right? And then again, to turn it back on, you're just basically going to hold the power button. Now it's in DAC mode. So there's no screen, so it's really kind of hard to know where you're at. And that goes the same with this filters. Now, I will say for most of the time, most of the gear I listen to in ES DAC chips, I don't hear one of those 8 filters, none of them. They all sound pretty much exactly the same. I kind of had a weird moment when I was listening to those Velcan 300 ohm headphones. For the first time ever, I actually heard a difference switching to the filters, the different DAC filters. First time ever that they made an audible difference to me. So I guess it really depends on the synergy of the gear that you're using. But again, that was the very first time ever that actually came into play. So overall, in conclusion, I think Nipo did a wondrous job in the engineering, but more importantly, the sound that this little guy can pump out and the power and the control that it has in it. I do love the simple form factor. I love the fact that they include 2 kind of MagSafe stick-on things for, well, in case I wanted to attach it to my N3 Ultra. I could just simply take off the 3M tape, stick it on there, and those 2 would shebango go together. That was a nice touch. The really quality cords, and again, I criticized the more expensive QUIRKS MUB1 for its really shitty little dongle attachments. These are actually quite nice, and they give you USB-C to USB-C and USB-C to Lightning, so that was quite nice. So overall, for the $399, very, very worthy. Terrific sound quality, small form factor, and again, it wouldn't stop me with these little quirks that I was talking about, buying one of these things right now because it sounds that damn good. Really love this device. I would look forward to also version 2 with some of those future things maybe incorporated into it. That would be wicked. But for now, I can't recommend this thing highly enough. I will talk about a couple things in comparison. So when I was doing my review of the QUIRKS MUB1, I said, why would you pick up the A100 over the more expensive one? Well, I said bass, stage, naturalness, resolution, form factor, all the metrics for sound. The A100 killed it, like devastated it. The huge battery, the 3900 milliamp battery, this thing gave you 13 hours. The MUB1, with a smaller battery, only gave you really about 8 hours. I only got about 8 hours out of that thing. DSD 512 out of this over DSD 256. Now, for some people, that's not a big deal. For me, I actually have quite a bit of DSD 512 files, so I can play them at a higher bitrate. That's why I would pick this one over the more expensive one. And one more that people were really asking me about, and that had to do with the Ibasso DC Elite at $449. That is still, to me, the pinnacle of dongle goodness. Nothing has beaten the Ibasso DC Elite for me at this point. I also, in order to get the most out of it, I also use it with that $100 cord that allows me to then plug in an external battery pack to it. So another $100 here, another, $50 here, and now I have what the A100 has built into it, right? What do you get with the Ibasso DC Elite, though, right? Well, one, you get this 24-step potentiometer, which I love. Some people hate. You get this ROM DAC chip that has barely been used, but it's why the DC Elite sounds so damn good. You get this teeny little LED indicator, which isn't much better than what's used on the A100, but it does tell you a couple sampling rates. You get a companion app. You don't get anything like that on the A100. You get better specs, arguably. Ibasso did, again, a shit ton of engineering to get everything into this little dongle in this titanium shell dongle. The difference between the two in sound. So the A100 actually sounds less thick, less warm, in the mid-range than the DCE. And that's not surprising. Listening to this a lot, I was getting, again, I was getting its sense of its sound signature, and I know that the mids are, there's no coloration, there's no added warmth, there's none of that you do get a little bit into the DCE. The A100 has the bigger, slightly more expansive soundstage, even over the DC Elite, and that is saying a lot. This thing is fantastic, phenomenal. I think this is a little bit bigger and more expansive, and it sounds more open, and the layering between the layering and the separation between the notes and the instruments is just slightly better. So is this better sounding? No. Is it different sounding? Yes. The two are playing at a high level. Absolutely fantastic. This works for so many people because of the volume control knob and how easy it is. This will also work for a lot of people as well. And they both have pros and cons. You can't go wrong with either one. But the A100, to even compare it against this phenomenal device is huge praise. And so I give you all the kudos and credits. And again, thank you to Leonardo from MusicTek for making this happen and getting this thing out into the market. And I'll put the link in the description of where you can pick this thing up from MusicTek, and highly recommended by the monk. That's for sure, 100%. I'm out for now.